Hey guys, Pharaoh here with League Top 10, and today we're going to be doing the Graves first impression. Now, we've had more than enough time to come to our own conclusions about Grave, and I'm pretty much not telling anybody anything new here when I say that I think the character is completely overpowered, and it's absolutely ridiculous that Riot released Graves the way he is right now. And straight up, I think the problem with Graves is how easy he is to use. Like, it's almost impossible to mess up his Q, to mess up his ultimate, or to misuse his E. Like, his W is the only thing that's even remotely difficult, and even that is pretty simple when it comes to actual usage. So, going straight into this, I think the issue with Graves, the primary issue, is that he's basically retard proof. You can do anything you want with this character and get away with it. Graves right now can take a solo or a duo and he'll handily win the lane pretty much no matter what. And he scales with levels and items, which makes him unbelievable until like the latest of the late game where he gets out carried by some carries. Now, I don't feel like his burst is too much. I feel like his burst is too easy to use well. So the easiest proposal that I personally would recommend would be to make it harder to land more than one shot of his Q and lower the damage of getting hit by one shot of Q. So what that would do is it would make it a lot less punishing for people who are avoiding Graves and playing intelligently. You know, you're not going to lose half of your hit points or a quarter of your hit points just for getting in range of Graves. But it will also reward a good Graves player who knows how to take advantage of positioning and knows how to land multiple shots of the Q. And it'll still feel good for the Graves player when it comes to actually landing a proper Q and getting good burst off. You know, if you stand next to a wall against Vayne, you don't sit there and complain that Vayne burst is overpowered. You sit there and you go, well, maybe I shouldn't stand next to a wall next time. And that's what I think needs to happen with Graves, because right now he's pretty much just roll your face on the keyboard and hit somebody, like hit Q and take out half of someone's life. And that needs to change in a big, big way. And I don't really care if they nerf all of his numbers across the board. I'm totally cool with that, actually. But right now, if they want to keep a similar power level but make it take more skill to use, then the easiest way to do that would be exactly what I said, which is nerf the damage of getting, hit by one shot of Q, make it harder to get hit by multiple shots of Q, and then increase the damage scaling on getting hit by multiple shots. Because right now it's you take 100% of the damage on the first hit, and then it's 35% of that damage for each subsequent hit. So it goes like 100 to 35, and then I think it's like 11, or it could be 35 again, but I'm pretty sure it's 11. And if they wanted to change that, they could change it so that it's like 70 damage for the first hit, and then it deals 50% of the damage for each subsequent hit, which would make it 70, 35, 17. You get about the same number for a triple hit, but a lot less damage on a single hit, which I think is important. Another thing that really bothers me about Graves is his passive. It's so unbelievably hard to exchange with Graves in lane because of how good his passive is. It's 40 armor, 40 magic resist, and it doesn't require you to be in combat with a champion, it just requires you to be in combat, which means if you're last hitting, or you're trying to push a creep wave a little bit, you're going to get full stacks, and then you go into trade and you have 40 more armor than the other person. And I feel like the being in combat thing, like that's a very good qualifier for such a heavy bonus, but I feel like it's a lot less of a detriment than it was intended to be when it was made. Right now, it's basically impossible to engage on a Graves when he doesn't have 10 stacks of his passive because he's just farming on a creep wave. What I think they should do is make it so that it's, in combat with champions, and that would make it, actually reasonable to exchange with a Graves. You go in there, he doesn't have 10 stacks, you can actually trade and then get away before he trades back, or disengage before he hits 10 stacks. Like, that just seems, to me, like the most elegant solution to him winning every lane. And, a lot of people say that the hallmark of an overpowered character is that they can do every role well. They said that Gangplank was overpowered because he could solo, he could duo, he could jungle, he could support. And I think Graves is kind of the same way. He can solo, he can duo, and he can technically jungle, although I wouldn't recommend it because he's so good in a solo and a duo. And really, he's not going to lose a solo unless it's like, I don't know, maybe Jax will win in a solo against Graves, but I can't see anyone other than Jax actually coming out positive because Graves is just going to be able to queue and then run away for every exchange. Like, he never has to engage anyone. And he farms so well, and he punishes you for farming so well. Because there are only so many positions you can get into to last hit. I know I've been basically rambling on about how I think this character is overpowered without even telling you guys how I play him. So you can definitely take solo or duo, mentioned that already. If you're taking a solo, definitely boots 3 health potions. If you're taking top lane, wait in the fountain, get your 4th health potion, go up there, and then just Q spam kids down. It's just very simple: Q, E, Q, W, max Q, max E, pick up R when you can. Dash into people, Q them in the face, unless it's a lane you're losing, then just Q defensively anytime they try and fight you. As far as item core go, it's standard AD carry stuff. If you're soloing, pick up a Wriggles or 2 or 3 Doran's Blades. If you're duoing with a healer, then just like 2 or 3 Doran's Blades, then you pick up a heavy AD item. Something like Black Cleaver or Infinity Edge or Bloodthirster really helps him because his ratios are so good, and the raw attack damage from that really helps him out. A lot of people don't like the Infinity Edge rush, and I understand that, but it does get the best overall scaling, even if it doesn't scale his Q and his R as well as Thirster or Cleaver do. Cleaver is kind of a good middle ground, where you're basically trying to help out his burst with the BF portion of it. It gives you a good chunk of attack speed for his sustained on the E. Overall, I feel like the character is close to balance. It just came out a lot easier to use than it should have been. With just a couple tweaks to make the character harder, I feel like it will be more rewarding for Graves players to actually get the same burst they're getting now by knowing that not everyone can do it. Just because a character one-shots someone, that doesn't, it's not fun for the person getting one-shot, but if you go out of your way to learn how to combo someone in a specific way, then that's rewarding for you as a player. I think Graves should be like that. You should be able to have higher burst if you play well, if you put yourself in a risky position to get 3 shots off on your Q. You should deal more damage than another ranged carry. But right now that's not how the character plays out. He just does more damage from safety, and then if he decides to get in range, he just one-shots everything. So that's pretty much my impression of Graves. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll see you guys soon.